In this session, we'll be focusing on the 5 stages that lead to a relationship that can lead to marriage. The first stage is the awareness stage. Think about how you met your wife or how you met your husband. You are probably in college together, probably in the same class for 4 years. And then in the final year, you are given a project to work on together. You are put in the same group. As you work on the project, you suddenly become aware of this young lady who has been in your class for 4 years, but you had never really taken notice of them. And as you become aware of them, perhaps it's the way that they put a lot of work and a lot of thinking into the project. Maybe you like their reasoning process. You really begin to like them. You want to get better acquainted with them. So what do? You isolate them. We don't think of it as isolation, but you want to see them away from everybody else. You ask them out for coffee. And as you have coffee, you're talking about your lives. You're asking her about her life. You are processing life together. And as you do that, you realize, I think I like this person. I think I want to know them better. You develop respect for one another. And stage 2 of developing the relationship is respect. Mutual respect is the foundation for lifelong relationships. In Ephesians 5 and verse 21, the scripture says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ, before it says, wives, be subject to your own husbands. And the 2 verses must be taken together. We cannot use the one to override the other. So as you have mutual respect for one another, you're going through the second stage of the relationship. This leads to stage number 3, that is admiration. You admire one another. You begin to see more in this person than others see. When they come to class next time, you notice how they have done their hair. You don't usually notice women's hair, but you're noticing this particular woman's hair. Or perhaps you're a lady and you notice the man's cologne. You admire them and you say it, you speak about it. This leads into stage 4, the stage of affection. Let me just pause there for a moment. Those first 3 stages of awareness, respect, and admiration can actually happen in a place of work between employees, between an employer and an employee. You can admire the way that your boss handled a difficult situation. You can admire the way your personal assistant responds to mail. You look at the mail that she has done, you're thinking, oh my goodness, this sounds just like me. You can admire that. So awareness, respect, and admiration can actually take place without any connotation of a love affair. But when it progresses to stage number 4, and that's affection, now we are beginning to get deeper into the relationship. When affection is being expressed, there's fondness for one another. There's a warmth in the relationship. There's caring for one another. And this leads to love. And that's the 5th stage. When love kicks in, the chemistry of the 2 people involved begins to blend. The actions and reactions are not always rational. You find yourself walking in the rain to go and meet this young lady that you are fond of. Somehow you are willing to pay the price. It doesn't make sense. You buy a ticket to fly for 2 hours to be with this person for 1 afternoon. It doesn't make financial sense, but you do it because love overrides all those things. Proverbs 30 and verse 19 describes 4 things that are difficult to understand. The first of the 4 is the way of the eagle in the sky, how it flies in the sky using the hot air currents. It's able to fly and glide in the sky, and at the same time keep an eye on the ground and be able to spot little prey that are moving on the ground. The way of the eagle in the sky. The way of a serpent on a rock. It has no legs, but it can climb up a rock. That's hard to understand. The way of a ship in the ocean. This was written in the days when the steamships or the electric ships or the diesel ships were not there. They are being propelled by the wind. The wind is blowing south, but you can steer your ship to go north. or to go east. That's a mystery. But the fourth thing that's hard to understand is the way of a man with a maiden. Once the chemistry blends, it's very hard to understand how the relationship will flow. So when a marriage struggles, you must ask yourself, what did you respect and admire about that person? What has caused it to deteriorate? If you are the person who is feeling disrespected, you must ask yourself, what have I done that has diminished my respect in your eyes? Notice that the finger is pointing at me. What have I done? What can I do to restore it? Whenever you point finger at self, you create a safe environment at which the person you're talking with can respond. If what's happened can be restored, the relationship can be recultivated. But if it cannot be restored, the relationship is in bad shape. For the believer, it should be able to be restored. The only question is, how can it be restored? So what is an affair? It's a sexual relationship between two people where one or both of them are not married to each other or are married to somebody else. A sexual relationship between two people where one or both of them are married to someone else. For the most part, the affair begins in a very innocent manner. The people involved in the affair are usually naive. The thought of an affair does not even cross their mind. They are not planning on it, but they're in a place where the building blocks of the affair are in place and the affair begins to happen. Friends, if you are fasting, you do not chew and spit food. If you are fasting, you stay away from food. In this session, we've looked at how relationships develop, how you become aware of a person, how you take them out and spend some time with them and begin to respect them, how you admire them, how affection begins to develop, and how that slowly transitions into love. And the reason we've gone through this is because those of you who are watching and who are married are very much familiar of how that process took place. And we laid that as a foundation because affairs pretty much take the same process as they develop. We concluded by defining what an affair is. It's a sexual relationship between two people. One or both of them are married to someone else. We're going to go ahead and talk about how an affair develops over time, and I'll be painting different scenarios that can lead into an affair.